A plan is in the works to address stopped trains blocking railroad crossings in Council Bluffs.
6 News' Joe Harris spoke to city leaders today about the frustrating issue.
Council Bluffs is dealing with a problem. Vehicles held up at railroad crossings, sometimes for more than an hour because the Union Pacific trains stopped at the tracks.
We get a lot of traffic with semis driving through here, and all it takes is a couple of them to get backed up before the neighborhood's all backed up.
Since railroads are not subject to local laws and regulations, Mayor Matt Walsh says the best the city can do is work with Union Pacific. Central to that is data collection devices that can monitor highly trafficked intersections and blocked rail crossings.
Their equipment will send a signal to towers that would light up when the crossing's blocked. Along that 8th Street corridor and 16th Street corridor, we'd put these lighted towers that would tell people don't turn to go towards the rail line because it's blocked, just go directly to the viaduct.
Walsh says he's working on a proposal to have those devices installed. It would cost more than $300,000 for a one-year contract, and he wants to apply for a grant to help pay for it.
We're hoping to have those being installed by no later than the end of 2025.
But Walsh doesn't know how soon the proposal will go before the city council. And even if it becomes a reality, it would not be a solution for an area some residents call the Triangle of Death. That's where the tracks along 16th Street split into two directions near 23rd Avenue and come back together around 10 blocks later.
Quite often they will block all three crossings, so people that live inside the community either find themselves trapped inside or trapped outside.
Walsh says if first responders need to get into that area while that's happening, it would be a longer process, and it could lead to a civil liability against Union Pacific.
We can come through their yard if we need to. If that's blocked, the problem is we'd have to call ahead, be met by a Union Pacific employee, and safely escorted through the yard.
In an email Thursday, the Federal Railroad Administration told 6 News there is no federal statute or regulation on blocked crossings. It went on to say, in part, such solutions include the railroad voluntarily making operational changes to minimize such instances, as well as potential longer-term local infrastructure improvement projects, such as grade separations. But Walsh says he doesn't think the city can demand anything from Union Pacific, adding it's going to be a long process of all parties working together. On your side in Council Bluffs, with videographer Bowen Peterson, Joe Harris, 6 News.
Union Pacific sent 6 News a statement today saying, in part, Union Pacific's goal is to keep trains moving safely and efficiently. A stopped train isn't good for our customers or communities. We are committed to working with the City of Council Bluffs to find solutions that address congestion concerns. They encourage anyone experiencing an issue to report it to them. You can also report it to the Federal Railroad Administration. We have all that information on WWT.com.